Steel and Flame, Book 1 of the Guilds of Avlaan series is available on Amazon. If you like fluffy wolf lolly protagonists and Japanese light novels, follow the link below to check it out.
Hello everyone, Leonardo Cornejo here, and today I want to talk about something that I have been holding. In fact, I forgot a few of the ideas I had for other videos because of the whole thing with localizers and all that, but I had been holding this one for a while. And I want to talk about closed species. You know, that thing which is fairly common in the furry community, but is found in other art communities. Which basically is when someone creates a species, which is it can be either copyrighted or trademarked, and I will talk about that also because, look, I know it's up to you if you write a species, if you create a species and you decide to copyright it or trademark it, it's up to you. But I think it's a bad idea, I think it's wrong, and I think closed species are the worst version of that. First of all, according to the Berne Convention, your work is copyrighted the moment you create it, but it gets complicated with the species, because the specific piece is copyrighted, but the species enters a different complex area. That's something that happens, for example, with my books. I'm not sure if the setting is copyrighted, but my books are. I assume the characters are, but I don't know about the setting. Now the thing is, with a closed species, since there is also the part about the creator actually selling them to other people, and them using it and all that, yeah, it complicates things a lot more. The thing is, I think it's a stupid and bad idea. I think it gets in the way of creativity. I think most people watching the channel understand what a closed species is. Basically, a creator makes this species, which is a fictional one, and they basically forbid, either through the MCA or through conflict, forbid the creation of any character of that species without paying or getting authorization from the creator. The thing is, as I said, it's complicated regarding copyright. I am not a lawyer, I'm not an expert, but if there is a reason why they don't use generally copyright or trademark lawsuits regarding closed species, choosing instead a less, how do I say, less litigious means, such as DMCA takedowns or rejection from the community. So it's safe to assume they at least don't know the law enough to take actual legal action. So, as I said, I don't know exactly how species work regarding copyright. I understand how specific pieces of art work, as I said, a book, a drawing, but I don't know about the species. I know about characters, but I don't know about the species. But if you ask me what my opinion is, I am not against copyright, and I am not precisely against trademarks, but I think trademark laws and copyright laws need to be more flexible, and I think a species shouldn't be on the list. Trademark and copyright shouldn't apply to a species from my perspective. I think that gets in the way of creativity. Imagine if Tolkien's elves were copyrighted or trademarked. There is in fact a bit of a problem with hobbits because of that, but imagine if it was elves. Or orcs, orcs originated from Tolkien's work. There are no records of orcs as described by Tolkien before Tolkien. And while there is a lot of variation of elves, the The elf as seen in fantasy nowadays, in many action fantasy settings, including mine, is inspired by Tolkien. Is basically the same species as Legolas. Imagine if the Tolkien estate showed up at your doorstep to fuck you over because you used an elf or an orc. That's why I am against closed species. I think they are a terrible idea. I think they are a stupid idea, and I think they shouldn't be respected unless they bring lawyers. You should start disrespecting them. In fact, well, I am not going to risk myself that way because I am a lot more creative than that. I have no intention of respecting closed species. I will never engage in works related to them. I will not give money to people involved in them. Why? Because I really think it's a bad idea. Closed species are a terrible idea. In fact, I as a writer have created a few fictional species for my work. While my work is copyrighted, I will fuck you over if you plagiarize it. You're free to use every single species featured in it. Especially Avlaani kobolds. Those kobolds are entirely available for your work, whatever it is. I'm not sure I want you to write about this using the same setting, and certainly if you write my characters, I will have to debate whether I consider it as fanfic or as plagiarism. And if I consider it plagiarism, I will use the full extent of the law. But if you decide to write a story with kobolds identical to mine, please tell me. I love it. I know I love it, especially if you make them as cute and funny as I make the girls. The female kobolds are all cute and funny, so I love it. That's what I can say. And if you ask, yes, Nitron is inspired by Nanachi. Yes, the design has a lot in common with Nanachi, but it's not Nanachi and it's not an Arehate. Avlaani kobolds are entirely different. They have more genetic uniformity, they have more biological uniformity, and they have claws, sharp claws, and some have horns. And I also drew inspiration from the Muggles from Final Fantasy XII and from other species, and basically I mixed a lot of ideas into a new one. That's why I'm against closed species. And that's how it works. And that's how it has worked for centuries before copyright became a fucking mess. Copyright is a disaster. So my point is, and in fact, that's why Palworld exists, because it grabbed an idea and mixed with another and mixed it with another until they came out with a new idea. So that's why I say, if you want to use any species I write, and I have made sure to never write a species that is not open for everyone, unless it is mine, explicitly open for everyone. If you write any species I have used in my work, let me know, because I will feel glad for that. And I have been writing a few other species of my own authorship. And in fact, some of the species I have written are recurring in different settings, different universes, which are not necessarily interconnected. I like the Final Fantasy model of having different universes with recurring elements. So yeah, I do the same. In fact, in case you haven't noticed, a few names and a few characters actually repeat. There is one character in particular who is basically my equivalent to Sid in Final Fantasy. So yeah, I do that. So yeah, if you want to use any species I have made, I made it. In the case I made it, or at least that version of that species, as I said, kobolds are not my creation, but the version of kobolds I created is different to other versions of kobolds. If you use them the way I portrayed, I don't have an issue with that, because I think closed species are stupid. I think they are a bad idea. They get in the way of creativity. They only favor overly litigious people and greedy people, and many of them are not that creative. For example, I don't really have a positive opinion on, for example, Primagens or Protogens. No, I think it was Primagens, which, by the way, had the let me check. Let me make sure. Let me make sure. Just let me make sure. Hold on a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. Yep, Primagen. I want to talk. I particularly hate Primagens for a reason. Are you familiar with Turok? Are you familiar with Turok? What's the name of the main antagonist in the second game? Yep, Primagen. That's why I hate Primagens. It doesn't even have anything to do with. Well, it has to do, but that's where my hatred begins, because I think it's wrong that this thing, which uses the name of this other thing, and the name is probably trademarked, if not copyrighted, this thing that uses the name of the other thing is a closed species. Dude, you're basically plagiarizing the name. You are copying the name. Primagen already existed, and it was not this overtly gay furry, and I say it in all the context of gay, because seriously, the amount of gay furries is unpleasant to me. I really don't like the furry community. I am not part of the furry community. And you say, well, but you great furries. I'm not part of the furry community. I am out of the furry community. I am part of the Kemono community. I write Kemololis. I am a lolicon, and I like Kemono, but I am not a furry, because I rage quit that community, because they are full of leftists, and they are full of annoying people. So I am out. And because they are hostile to lolicons, but they tolerate diaper fetishes, so I hate them. I really don't like the furry community. The thing is, these furries have the same name as a villain in a video game, and nobody bats an eye. But if you draw or write one of them, I will think of the legal loophole. I will make them different enough as a parody. I think of a legal loophole, because I will find the legal loophole to parody them, because they use the name of a villain, and nobody bats an eye. But if you draw one of them, you're fucked. That pisses me off. That's my point. That pisses me off a lot, a fucking lot. I think it's wrong. I think the concept of closed species is awful. It gets in the way of creativity, as I said. It gets in the way of new ideas. And the worst part is that trademarked species and copyrighted species are a bigger problem, and nobody talks about it. And you have them. For example, the slivers from Magic the Gathering. I will find a way to buy them out. Someday I will make enough money to buy them out. I'll make them free for everyone, because I hate the fact that a game which is decaying has one of the most impressive monster species out there, which, by the way, they were heavily inspired by the xenomorphs, which are another species with the same problem. You get my point? I think it is wrong to copyright or trademark a species. I think it shouldn't happen, and I will never, even if the Verne Convention say I can, I will never enforce copyright laws or any trademark law upon any species I have written, because it goes against my principles. So basically, as an author, I have the right to say, well, my work and my settings and my characters are copyrighted, so no, you can't write Neutron unless it's a fanfic, and I can tolerate fan art, and I can tolerate fanfic. But if you're planning on writing a scat fetish fanfic with Natron, yeah, prepare to meet my lawyers. Now I won't. I mean, I will feel tempted to, but I will just say, dude, keep that thing to yourself. It's not canon, and it will never be. But I will consider, if a fanfic bothers me enough, I will consider fuck the author over. specifically if the author also bothers me enough. But the thing is, I will never enforce any sort of copyright or trademark law upon a species I have written. I am on the fence regarding settings, but all I can say is if you learn the lore of Avlaan completely and you feel like writing a fanfic using the setting but none of my characters, it won't be official, it won't be canon, it will be considered fan work, but yeah, you can monetize it. If you use the setting with none of my characters, good luck trying that because some of them are really relevant to the setting. If you use the setting with none of my characters, yeah, you can monetize it. I don't mind. I don't mind. But only if you talk to me personally. You know, like Lovecraft. I like the way he managed it. He had this circle of people who all basically used his setting and sometimes even his characters, and they expanded upon it and they added new characters and new elements, and that was awesome. The way Lovecraft did it, that was awesome, and I think that's the ideal. The ideal of how copyright should work. It should favor creativity instead of corporations or large businesses or large public figures or celebrities. Of course, if you try to copy word for word my book, I will have you assassinated. And I know people, no joke. I will figure the way to know even more people to have you assassinated if you try to copy word for word my books and sell them. If you try to plagiarize my books, I will find a way to have you assassinated. But if you pirate them, just tell people you love them. Seriously, if you pirated my books, just remember, if you like them, to buy them later, and if you like them and you are not yet to buy them, recommend them a lot. I really don't mind if people pirate them and for later to buy them later, or if they pirate them and advertise them and get me more sales. If you get me 2 sales after pirating my book, you can consider yourself as advertising me instead of just pirating. You have compensated it. You have compensated it, seriously. Maybe it's because I'm a small writer and I really don't care about all those complexities. But I really don't understand why people think it's necessary to copyright or trademark a whole species or even a planet. Seriously, if you don't use my characters, or if you get authorization from me to use them, you can even use my setting. Well, I think I'm on the fence. I really probably, if you get me more sales, I don't mind. I mean, seriously, if I still make money because you used my setting or my species in your work, why should I care about the fact that you are using them? If that gives me more money, that's helping me. So yeah, I don't see why that would be a problem. Maybe there are some reason why, and I don't know them, but as I said, I'm on the fence regarding settings, regarding the same world I wrote. But regarding a species, dude, use them. That was exactly what, in some cases, not all cases, but in some cases, and it was I think it was open game license, something like that, Dungeons and Dragons did with a species such as, for example, the Tarrasque, which everyone uses. I use it too. Or the way they portray the elves. There was a list of elements, including a species, which were applied to the old open game license. They tried to change it, and I don't know exactly what happened with that, but nobody liked it. But the thing is, they had several creatures and elements which were basically considered to be used by anyone for anything. Again, the Tarrasque, for example. And that was great. Maybe that's why I think this, because I say, if you want to use a species I wrote, any species I wrote, use it. Make them more popular, make them more recognized. Therefore, closed species are antithetical to my business model. Well, that's it for today. Have a good one.